Okay, so the inferior horn, I have drawn the inferior horn. Okay, now I'm going to tell you the inferior horn. It is the largest and the longest of the three horns, and I have already told the place. The posterior horn and the inferior horn diverge. That area is called collateral trigon, which maybe I have shown here. See, posterior horn and the inferior horn, they meet together. This place is collateral trigon. Okay, and then the roof is formed. Right now we are going to go to the boundaries of inferior horn. The roof is formed by, in the lateral side it is formed by tapetum. So this is subtapetum, this is the inferior horn, and this is the lateral side of the tapetum, inferior horn. The roof, the lateral side is formed by tapetum, and on the medial side it is formed by caudate nucleus, the tail of caudate nucleus, and stria terminalis. Tapetum, tail of caudate nucleus, and the stria terminalis. And then there are two collateral eminences in the floor. As you can see, this is the floor region. This is true. This is the floor. So there are two eminences, collateral eminence and hippocampus. This is hippocampus and this is the collateral eminence. So they are also forming a ridges, like they were forming in the two ridges which were formed in posterior horn. The exact same way, two ridges are also formed in the inferior horn, but both of them are formed from, one is from the collateral sulcus. What is forming is collateral eminence, and then hippocampal sulcus, hippocampus is forming another elevation. Okay, another elevation into the plexus, okay, into the lateral ventricle. So now you need to learn the hippocampus fibers. They form alveus, and the alveus at one side it forms a ridge and converges to form a ridge that is called fimbriae. So as you can see here, this is hippocampus, and then some fibers arise from it. Those fibers are called alveus. They converge together and they form a cluster, okay, and that converged cluster is called fimbriae, and from these alveus only fornix arises, which we will be dealing because these are fornix. I have told in corpus callosum class that fornix and corpus callosum are the two important projection fibers. Okay, now we are going to talk about the choroid plexus of lateral ventricle. The choroid plexus of the lateral ventricle, as you can see in the inferior horn, the choroid plexus is invaginating into the plexus and forming choroid fissure. What? Into the lateral ventricle, okay, of the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle, and is forming choroid fissure. The choroid plexus is derived from the anterior and posterior choroidal arteries. Anterior and posterior choroidal arteries. Third ventricle is formed from posterior cerebral something artery, posterior cerebral artery, I guess. Third ventricle was an anterior choroidal artery. No, third ventricle choroid plexus was formed from anterior choroidal artery, and fourth ventricle was formed from posterior inferior cerebellar arteries. Okay, so you need to remember that the choroid plexus are formed from which all arteries. Okay, and in the next I'll be dealing with fornix. I know it is looking little bit dirty and congested, but trust me, I'll be teaching you all the points maximally, whatever is important and needed for the exam. Okay, thank you so much.